Okay, I'm fairly happy with the way the tails turned out. Now I'm ready to transfer the tails onto the pin board here, which is this piece of 12-quarter walnut here, thick piece of walnut. And I'm going to set this in the vise. And I've got this long 7-foot piece of hard maple supported. One of the tools that I like to use for marking these needlepoint houndstooth dovetails is this little cheapest little knife that you can find. You can find these at your local home center. And the nice thing about it is the blade is thin, and you can get it right in here and mark it. The key though is to make sure that the knife doesn't wander. Another knife that I like to use is this chip carving knife, Swiss made, and it's also got a thin blade, and it allows me to be able to work it right down inside there. The layout here is critical. Okay, now I've got the dividers, and I'm going to just set them here to the baseline of the houndstooth dovetail. The houndstooth here, and then we'll just transfer it right over here. And then I'll take my cutting gauge and set it to that mark right there. So the next step is to know how deep to cut here. So I'm just going to take a measurement off of the thickness of this stock using the cutting gauge, and then we'll transfer that. So on the inside here, we'll just take and we'll score across right there. Okay, now all I've got to do is draw my line straight down. So what's really key here is that when I saw this, that I stay perfectly within the waistline. But at the same time, my goal here is to, when I fit this together, to not have to pair anything right here. So I want to hug that line, I mean literally right up against that line. And following right there. Now we'll just cut straight down at an angle. Now let's cut the houndstooth part. One of the tricky things about cutting this joint is chiseling out the waist, especially in these small areas right in here. So one of the things that I've found that's helpful is if I bore out some of the waist with a brace and bit. That'll just kind of help remove some of that waste prior to chiseling. I'm going to set the depth here. I don't want to get too close to the line. In fact, staying away from the line is the best thing here. The goal is really just to rough remove some of that waste. So we can always chisel that last little bit. Okay, I'm ready to chop out the waste here. Hold fast holds it in well. I'm going to start by scoring the baseline just a little bit deeper here. And we'll establish that baseline. Okay. Now that we've removed down to the base of this line, the next tricky part is to remove both of these right here on either side. It's not going to show back in there, but it will show right there. And you'll also remember when we cut this at an angle right in there, so there's some material that is not severed back this way, so the only way to remove that is by paring it. Looks somewhat messy in there at this point. Key is just kind of try to get in there and remove as much as you can, and then you kind of come back and fine tune it. But right now, and then I'm going to come in here with the chisel and work down to that baseline there. I'm going to work up to it slowly, and when I get to within about a 32nd of that line, I'm going to take the chisel and let it fall into that cut. That will give me the most accurate cut right there. If I, in this case over here, if I took the chisel and I tried to push it in there, at this point, chances are the chisel would push back past the line. So I've got to just take a little bit more material off, again leaving about a 32nd or so, and then take that chisel, and even though I can't even necessarily see the line, I can feel the line, and you can see that chisel just falls right into that cut. What I want to do now is just clean up and make sure the angles are good and crisp, right where they meet. So I can do that by paring to the line, just you see right there, just paring right down to it. Making sure the key here is everything has got to be good and crisp. Okay, I think I'm done cleaning it up. Let's go ahead and try to test fit this. Okay, the moment of truth. Here we go. Lining it up. Usually it needs a little persuasion. There's a hound's tooth dovetail, needle point dovetail.